Last chance to buy. Don't mess up. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name's Neil. We keep technical analysis short and sweet. We're looking at Bitcoin potentially in the consolidation. In my last video, you saw that we may have a pullback to around maybe 110,000 with 500. But it could be within one day and then come right back up. A lot of people like MicroStrategy and BlackRock are going to be buying Bitcoin anytime it drops within that area. So I'm not too worried about it. Moving straight over into XRP. XRP is looking pretty nice. The fair value gap, we're at this previous high right here. This is kind of what we wanted to hold as support. That clearly did not happen. We had that push down, but we are forming out an inverse head and shoulders. And like I've said in previous videos, anywhere between August roughly 12th to August 21st is some pretty important news for XRP. I personally believe we're going to start seeing some major movement in XRP in September, November sometime. However, it is not a bad idea to start stacking your bags, as I believe we are forming out this inverse head and shoulders. Could we see a lower shoulder, something like this? Yes, that is a possibility. We could see it touch right around this area, around $2.80 if Bitcoin decides to do its flash crash pullback. But we are most likely going to get support off this black upward trend line and start pushing upwards very, very quickly. So dollar cost average, your XRP. None of this is financial advice. Just like my last video, it's not financial advice, so I don't get sued. But I'm just trying to give you the best input I can for coins such as this. And XRP is definitely is probably one of the biggest bags I have because the utility is astronomical for what it can do. We had XLM fill out that bull flag. We had that push up. Everybody thought it would have a continuation, but for a healthy market, we need to see this kind of pattern form. We need to see a breakout of a downward trend line and then a potential retest off of that trend line for it to be healthy, keeping the 200 EMA nice and close. And this, the way I see it visually, I don't know if it's all the stuff I've taken in the past when I was a kid, but visually I see that there's a lot of pressure just pushing this upwards for XLM. XLM, when we get rid of everything, the main thing that I would be looking at is a downward trend line from this point down, and then the next one would be from this point this way. I do like to invert my scale sometimes, as you could see that that's kind of the similar thing where we get a strong resistance right in this area, and we do have the potential to be pushing back towards this 200 EMA, but last time we pushed towards that 200 EMA, it pushed underneath, pushed once more, and then there was so much pressure, it pushed it way out of bounds, and needs to have that kind of retracement to keep a healthy market working in general. But the bigger picture for XLM, it does have a very long way to go. Some people say it can hit $50. I imagine it would hit $50 when XRP hits 10,000 in 2030. So 5 years from now. You say, Neil, that's 5 years from now. I've been trading since 2015. Been through a lot of volatility, and it's no surprise to me if this drops real quick to 30 cents before ultimately picking up. But with all this stuff put in, it's just a little bit better visual for me personally. As we have this bull flag, mainly want to see some support within this area around 40 cents if it does pull back a little bit more. As long as we are keeping a higher low, everything is in the clear for XLM. Try and bust out as many of these as I can in this video. Dogecoin, we got that rejection at 24 cents. We are holding above the 200 EMA and the 21 cent mark. Somewhere within this area, 20 to 21 cents is kind of where you would want to see a better entry, as we are getting a little wick off some bulls selling or bears selling within this area. So we may see a little bit further retracement for Dogecoin, but definitely stack a little bag of Doge. It's not a bad bet for putting in 20 cents, a little over 20 cents. Doge can potentially hit $4. There's fibs everywhere on this chart. We'll get back to that later, but that's kind of my analysis for Doge. Right in this area, right around the 20 cent mark, is where we'll most likely start seeing support. Shiba Inu, a lot of major potential as well. Mainly need to break this black downward trend line. We need to get above this 200 EMA as well, holding support on this upward trend line. I don't have the RSI in here, which is a little bit better to see. Gives you a better idea using more indicators. You could use like, Bollinger Bands and all these other things, but I try to keep it simple, something that's a little bit more visually appealing. Let's bring in the RSI, Relative Strength Index, and it's right at the 50. So we may see a little bit more of a retracement on this, touching this yellow line, push up a little bit, touch it once more, and then taking back off towards the overbought side. The SHIB is a meme coin. It is like 4 zeros and a 1. So if you got a fraction of a penny, why not put it in SHIB, see what can happen with it, and then later you can regret that you didn't put $1,000 into it. As meme coins, this may be the last opportunity before crypto gets fully introduced into all the countries, and meme coins disappear. So while meme coins are still alive, it's not a bad bet to try and put some money, not a whole bunch of money, because they can go to zero. I've seen rug pulls that just destroy cryptos. But meme coins are a quick way to make money, but we're not here to make quick money. So don't put all your money in a meme coin hoping to be a millionaire, as you can get wrecked very quickly. Floki, similar to SHIB, another coin that has some major potential. I believe Elon Musk also backs this as well as Doge, but we pushed way up towards dropping a 0. And then right back into about 3 zeros and a 1, and held support on that 200 EMA. And we see in the bigger picture there's a nice W formation. We would like to see this trend line hold. However, this can always be readjusted to a lower point. The Fibonacci retracement for Floki 618 is exactly at the point where we got that support. And so now we just kind of want to see it build a little bit more support, some consolidation over the days, and start pushing upwards. IOTX, not a whole bunch of people talk about IOTX, but there is a lot of potential for this coin. It does have to break this black downward trend line to start seeing some major movement, but buying at the almost absolute bottom is not a bad idea either. We see that it had that major reduction right here actually today. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here in Spain, but we had that push down and a bunch of bulls buying up within this area, which, as you can see, if I remove this box, that is the 618 Fibonacci retracement, and it had that push right back up into the 0.5. So we may see this start inching back up over that 200 EMA, and then IOTX is looking like a very good buy opportunity if you did not have a buy order right around this area at around 2.7 cents. But very bullish momentum on this particular coin. Fibonacci keeps disappearing, relative strength index keeps disappearing. We see that the yellow is pretty strong here, pushing it downwards and downwards, but we are right at that 50 on the RSI, and we may start seeing a little bit bullish momentum depending on what Bitcoin is doing. Is it possible to crash further to 2.5 cents? Yes, even down to 2.2 cents. However, that is probably the absolute low for IOTX. Really not a bad bet on IOTX. We just need to get above the 0.034 cents, and then its all-time high is right up here around 50 cents. So turning 3 cents into 50 cents is pretty substantial. I don't know how else to explain it, but IOTX is a pretty good bet. I think I had that green box listed for a reason. Nope, no reason. Moving on to near, clear, bigger inverse head and shoulders. We could actually drag this out, do something like this, move that up, and inverse head and shoulders potential like this. And we can see that we really just need to get over that 200 EMA for near. And then we can start pushing up to the $4.80, currently at $2.59. The 618 for the retracement is $5.78. So double your money on near. I do think there are some other coins that may be a little bit better, but near is not a bad bet. Anytime we break some of these major downward trend lines, it's getting real tight. A lot of the way I see it personally is water is flowing into this tiny tunnel. It's getting a lot of pressure within this area, and it has to break out one way or another. Breaking down is, I mean, you can't go below zero. I guess you could, but you could be nothing. But there's more potential for this to cross over the 200 EMA and push up towards this downward trend line around $4.64. Aerodrome, I brought it up right before it had this major pump above this 200 EMA, and it pushed up around 60% in about 3 days. 60% increase is pretty substantial. You have $100, you now have 160. But Aerodrome does have some pretty good utility. I do want to see this retrace a little bit more into the CM Guppy, potentially 95 cents before finding a little bit more support, and then we need to break that downward trend line. Moving to XYO. XYO, like some people have commented, it is a sleeper, and that is very true. We've seen in the past, like this for example, long drawn out period, everybody just wants to be done with it, get rid of it, find something else to get into, and then a 409% increase in about 2 days. 2 days to 4x your money. XYO is definitely something I have a bag stacked for, and I had these triangles or rectangles, what am I talking about, placed out here. So as you can see in this yellow area, this is kind of what I would expect to see in this area that's in the Fibonacci. If I draw a box more or less here, this is kind of what we are seeing. So we had this push up, right? We had a major push up being this one on April 25th, major push up, and then push down, push up, push down, consolidation, a further retracement, and hit that absolute bottom before pushing over the 200 EMA and then testing it once more and breaking out. So we had the push up, push down, push up, push down, the major retracement, a push up, and then in this exact area right here, draw another box for you, make it a different color, visually stimulated. This is essentially what I imagine is happening right here within this area that was back on October 31st. So we had that push down and then up over the 200 EMA, got a little rejection, consolidated over. So push up, push down underneath the 200 EMA, test this 200 EMA, a little bit of consolidation over this big black downward trend line, and then a major push up, consolidation, and then a push up once more. That is kind of the plan for XYO. Doing spell Hbar in the next CN. Spell, it's very rapid. Within 1 day, it went 46% and then got rejected. A lot of volume played out. We mainly want to see this support trend line happen, maybe test it as support, and then push back up to the 200 EMA. I'm personally not entering more into spell until I see it cross over this 200 EMA in this downward trend line. Yes, that is about 25% differential trying to get over that, but I'd rather wait and have a better entry that is a little bit more secure. Hbar, consolidation still, but if you're buying XRP and XLM, Hbar is definitely one to look at. The retracement we could see is back towards this 200 EMA at 19 cents if Bitcoin drops real quick. However, we would like to see some support a little bit higher, around 22 cents. But I believe this is consolidating. You will have time to enter into Hbar after some of the other cryptos pump. And then XCN, someone was saying dropping down to 0.0078, removing everything. 0078, let's see, 78 all the way down here. That's around a 42% decrease. Is that possible? Yes, that is possible. That is possible. I'm not going to deny it. However, when we were that low previously in this area right here, we saw everybody thinking it was going to drop lower, and then a major price increase in 2 days, about 239%. So you could get a 50% decrease and sell out at the bottom. I will buy it up from you if you want, but XCN does have some major potential. Been trading this since the first pump before it even showed any kind of real formation of anything. My entry was here, 0.00089, sell at 0.00322, and then re-entry and sell above the 200 EMA, and then another entry once we crossed over that 200 EMA yet again, and then a 2,000% increase. 20x within about a week and a half, I think. So yeah, it is potential that it could drop 50%, but the fact that there are a lot of people holding this coin, I don't think it's going to drop much further. In the past, it's not shown on this chart for some reason, but I believe it was this area back in the year 22. It went from all the way up here around 5 cents down to around 0.78, like suggested in the comments, and then immediately just ripped right back up, back into the area, and then had the further continuation downwards. So we may see a quick flash crash. That is possible. I don't have a sell order in any way, as I have strong faith from what I've seen in previous technical analysis and what I see in this chart that we could be just forming a very nice W. And that is for the win. So that's kind of the overview for XCN as well as the other cryptocurrencies. Like and subscribe if you want. I will try to keep you updated. Do not panic sell. That's how a lot of people lose their money. Cut your losers short. Let your winners ride. And we did break some substantial support, but it's all subjective depending on where you place your line. We could readjust this black trend line. Let's get it to this previous high right in this area around December 3rd. And we could adjust this lower to something like this. That's a possibility. Nothing is, the exact way that the chart is laid out. However, we have this downward trend line that we're most likely going to be holding as support. So we could be pushing to 0.009. Debatable. The Fibonacci says 0.00893. And nothing is impossible in cryptocurrency. And so we may see that happen if Bitcoin starts to push down, but there are going to be a bunch of buyers in here. I don't look at it as just my funds being in the market. I look at the fact that there are people who have 10x leverage plays. They're like, oh, it's going to go up, and then it comes down, takes all their money, and then rips right back up with all the people with 10x leverage buys within this area. And if you're unsure what leverage is, say you have $100 and you want 10x leverage, it's like you have $1,000. And if it goes down just a tiny bit, you lose your $100. But if it goes up a tiny bit, it's like you put in $1,000 instead of 100. Me personally, my entire portfolio, I've never used leverage. I did on Forex trading, made a ridiculous amount of money and lost it very, very quickly with leverage plays. So this is all just personal liquidity for me, but I think about those people who have a lot of money and have leverage plays that are just going to get liquidity swept, take all their money, and then take off from there. So that's kind of it for this video. Like and subscribe if you want. References in the description below for Mexi. Grass is doing free airdrop money, and I will actually do a short on grass so you guys can kind of see what it is. And good luck. Have fun with it. I will see you on the next one.